Stay tuned and let's take a look at this Marvel Legends Iron Spider. Ciao and welcome back to the channel, Dan Who Reviews. As always, my name is Dan W. Make sure you are following me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. And remember now you can hit that join button and become a channel member as well. Either show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. Today we are taking a look at this Marvel Legends Iron Spider, aka Spider-Man, with a tech upgrade from Tony Stark himself. Now, I've been wanting this costume in Marvel Legends for a long time because technically we've never had it. We have had a figure of it before in some other sort of Hasbro sublines, but never Marvel Legends proper. So I'm very happy to add it to the collection, and it looks glorious in this sort of metallic red and gold with the arms on the back, 3 arms as well, which is accurate to the comics. And of course, it is part of that Spider-Man 60 Amazing Years lineup that we are getting this summer. And to be honest, this figure was definitely one of my most anticipated. As I said, a costume I've been wanting to add to the collection for a while. There we get a picture of the comic image on the side, another digital render, on the back another digital render, and the only thing he comes packed with are a set of swipping hands. Now, you know what my feelings are with this plastic-free packaging. I think Hasbro can definitely do a better job than what's currently going on. There should be some sort of fun comic image on the front, and I've also not been having the best of luck with QC issues. So wish me luck, people. Hopefully there's no potato in here, and let's get it open. Here we have the Iron Spider out of the packaging, and this is exactly how it comes packed, with the 3 legs being separate pieces, of course, and then you get a set of interchangeable swipping hands. And I am happy to report, after a quick inspection, it does seem like all the pieces are there and no QC issues, at least to the paint anyway. Maybe when I start moving him, an arm will snap, but time will tell. And first impressions of the actual figure, you can see it sort of glimmering and glaring under my lights there, but it is a very metallic-y plastic. But I don't mind that, because remember, this is meant to be a metal armor. He got an upgrade by Iron Man himself, so I don't mind that sort of metallic shine that the plastic has. I know some people don't like that marbleization, but I actually quite like it when the plastic is meant to be representing a metal material. So I'm fine with it. I like that ruby sort of chrome red and then that dark sort of burnt gold on top. I did have some concerns at first, because on comments online was saying that the plastic was like sort of 2-toned red, but I am happy to report in person I'm not really seeing that. Like, it looks all good to me. Obviously a completely pinless figure as well. This is all new. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting those legs on and seeing him posed up. So let's take a closer look. Starting off with the head sculpt, as you can see, quite a simple design. You can see a nice sort of facial structure, but you can't really see any emotion behind that new mask, that helmet. You can see those 2 eyes though that are bulging out and sculpted very nicely, painted in that gold to match the logo on the chest. So they are very nice. Simple, but done very well. And as I spin it, you can see my harsh studio lights shining on the figure, making it seem a lot more glossy than it actually is in person. So I apologize about that. What I do like though is the spider logo on the chest. Again, all of these logo elements are sculpted onto the chest, very nicely done. And finally, I've got some good paint apps, so nothing to complain about. They continue all the way up onto the butterfly joints, onto the shoulder, and as I spin it around, you can see more on the back there, and this is where you port in those legs, which we'll look at in a second. We do have some gauntlets as well on the sort of wrists there on both sides, and then we have the sort of shin pads on the boots, which very nicely hide a boot cut with a bit of articulation there as well. So yeah, online it said there was a bit of 2-tone in the red, but I'm happy to report in person it's not as harsh or as noticeable as people are making out online. Now, there probably is a subtle change in the plastic from the sort of chest down to the legs, but nothing that's going to take anything away from this figure for me. This is my mind's eye of the Iron Spider. Really liking the sort of dark ruby chrome against the sort of gold as well. And yeah, simple design, but done very well. So let's plug in those legs. Before we plug them in, let's just take a closer look. All 3 legs are exactly the same, and the gold isn't as metallic as what you see on the chest of Spider-Man, and I'll show you that in a minute. It's a lot more flat compared to that metallic gold, and it seems like there should be like 5 points of articulation here. Like, there should be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but there isn't. There's only like 3. There's 1 here on the second sort of spin. There's one here on the fourth, and then there's one down here as well where you actually plug in the Waldo. So not as much articulation on the legs as it appears from the sculpt, but the sculpt is very nice. If it will focus for me, you can see them there, the point, and then the sculpted elements on the inside. And then again, both of these seem like they should articulate, but like, as I said, only one does. This one is just sculpted and it's solid. Again, here, that one articulates, but this one here doesn't. The articulation is here with the peg on the actual Waldo. So there you go. Not as much articulation as it first appears, but definitely enough to get him in some nice poses. So yeah, all three are the same. Let's plug them in. So I've already plugged two in, so let's plug the last one in together. And as you can see, very nice and simple, but I would advise heating them up first. And now they're all plugged in, you can see that they obviously all will twist on this sort of back piece, and there's also a hinge so you can sort of bend them out or like bend them in. So there is a little bit of articulation there on the back. And then if I zoom out and we spin it around, you can see that, as I said, there's an articulation point there and then another one on the back there. So one there and one there. They're hidden. It should seem like there's more articulation than there is, but enough to get him in some good poses, I hope. Okay, so simple pose, I know, but I did want to show you that he will stand there and hold the weight of all three legs being plugged in on the back, and he won't just topple over. You can see if I spin him there to the side, you can see him sort of holding the weight of all three legs. Now I'm curious, will the legs hold the weight of him so we can get him in a nice pose? Yeah, okay, I'm not gonna lie to you, this isn't exactly what I had in mind. I was trying to get him posed in a way where the legs would literally hold his weight and get him in that famous pose where he can just sort of sit there with the legs holding him, but they're not strong enough and they don't articulate enough either, annoyingly. But it would have been great to get him in that pose, but a flight stand is definitely going to have to be used to get him in some even better poses. But the articulation appears like it should be there, it's just that the legs are not strong enough to hold the weight of the figure. But I tried, and again, just experimenting with the weight of the actual figure. As you can see, the legs will topple him over if you don't balance him upright. I've actually tried to use one of the legs to sort of hold him in place. Otherwise, when they're posed up like this, he will fall. So you've got to spread them out and really get your balance game on point. So this is the part of the video where I plugged the Amazing's video, because he got his hands on this first and got him in some epic poses. And obviously, go to the balance master, Jay Hernandez, and I'm sure they will show you how to do it properly. I'll just talk about him, because as you have seen, Iron Spider comes with a set of fisted hands and a set of swipping hands, which obviously you need for Spider-Man, but they are missing any wall crawling hands, so I know people are going to be disappointed with that. So again, this is the type of figure that you need to get on a flight stand and you can really start having some fun with him, because there is endless posing possibilities with all this guy can do. It just depends on your display space and where you're actually going to put him on the shelf, because you do want to get him posed up nice and dynamically, but he can stand neutral as well. As you've seen, it just takes up a little bit of real estate from the back end. But yeah, no complaints from me. This is my mind's eye of Iron Spider. I am very happy to add him to the collection. Swinging into some comparisons, first up we have the new Spider-Man 2-pack with Spinnerets, and they look really good together. Spider-Man is just a tiny bit taller than the Iron Spider, but if I take Spinneret out the way, let's bring in another Spider-Man from this 60th anniversary lineup so far, as we have the inverted Future Foundation Spider-Man, who again is just a tiny bit taller than the Iron Spider, but those three look really good. And the one that I wanted to see are my favourite three Spider-Man costumes all on the table together for my collection. We got Classic, we've got the Iron Spider, and then the Spider Armor Mark 1. These are my three most wanted costumes I wanted in my collection, and now on this day I have them all standing next together on the shelf. 2022 has been a great year for Spider-Man fans so far, and yeah, I am so happy to tick these two off the wish list this year. Next up we have two different Spider-Man body molds just for comparison, with Spider-Man UK and then the Classics Pizza Spider-Man, of course. I'm also going to take him out and bring in Peter Parker, and again I'm very curious to see if we can swap on a Peter Parker head on this body and then get him to like hold the helmet just like he does in the comics. And yes, of course you can. That is the Peter Parker head that came in the Spinneret 2-pack with the digital face printing tech, but he holds the helmet under the arm, no problems at all. So how does he compare next to the loves of his life? Here we have Mary Jane, and then here we have Gwen Stacy, and yeah, I love this new costume. And as I mentioned earlier, my mind's eye of this costume is from Civil War. The original Civil War, that is the first time I've seen this costume and I loved it ever since. So in honor of that, here we have Captain America and Iron Man. And look how tiny the Iron Spider looks compared to Venom and Null. Those guys are massive in comparison. This version of Venom and Carnage probably scale a little bit better. Here we have Iron Spider compared to Tigra and Frogman, and I do apologise about him. He is just not a fan of White Rabbit getting any screen time. And then last but absolutely never least, here we have Captain Britain and Hal Fire Hank. So, final thoughts on the Iron Spider. Now, this was genuinely and honestly one of my favourite costumes from the comics, so I'm really happy to finally have it in Marvel Legends. As I said, we have never had it in the main line before, and it fits in beautifully with some of my other favourite costume designs. So I can't wait to add him to the collection and to our ever-growing Spider-Verse on our displays. So I'm just really happy to have it represented on the shelf. But you out there may have a few nitpicks with the sort of articulation. Now, don't get me wrong, it has lots of articulation, enough for me, but those legs could probably have a few more points of articulation, as the sculpt sort of looks like they should. And if they were a little bit stronger and they could hold up the weight of Spider-Man, you could probably get him in some better poses as well on the ground without a flight stand. But with a flight stand, you can get him in some nice poses, as you can see here, slowly spinning around, but it looks great for me. So I'm very happy. But as always, you let me know what you think in the comments below as well. Did you notice any of that two-tone plastic that the internet is talking about? Because I've got it in hand and it didn't bother me one bit. So always curious to hear your thoughts in the comments below, as always. And if you like Marvel Legends, then you're in the right place. Check out the videos tab, find the playlist, but most importantly, please hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, don't miss out on a video, and please hit that join button, become a channel member, either show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. And as always, you can follow me on Instagram at It's Dan Who, and I'm on Twitter as well. Tweet me at Dan Who Reviews. And until then, people, my name is Dan W, and I will of course see you on the next one.